Hey, good morning, Alan. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Nick, and uh, great to be here.
Please introduce yourself to everybody, your full
Okay,
name.
my name's Howell Parrot. I was a falconer for Arab political leaders for 20 years, and then I spent another 10 years in former Soviet territories doing conservation work and catching falcon smugglers.
Excellent. So, we crossed paths about a year ago, or no, about 8 months ago, and I have always been searching for the reasons as to and why they wanted everyone to die in Benghazi. And boy, do you have some really good information that explains everything. And we appreciate that you're taking the time to share it with us, everyone. So,
Thank you. Well, I have to say that our military are so well trained, their work is compartmentalized, and the only people that understand the full story are the people at the top. Uh, and they have made some very bad decisions for this country and for uh, the former Navy SEAL Ty Woods and his brethren who perished unnecessarily uh, at the hands of Hillary Clinton. And in the large picture, this involves Joe Biden and John Brennan.
so could you explain the context of how did this all start?
Well, the gestation, the beginning was in the 70s during the Church Commission when an alternate CIA was created called the Safari Club. And the Safari Club was financed by overseas allies. It was outsourced to foreign banks. I have two banks and bank accounts that were used by the Safari Club and the individuals with checks paid out by them. Osama bin Laden was one of the recipients of funding from this alternate CIA that was subverting the oversight control of the successor to the Church Commission, and that is the Senate Intelligence Committee. Uh, uh, 1 week before bin Laden was killed, I was called down to the Senate Intelligence Committee to give statements and evidence. And I have quite a few tape recordings and of senior members who were aware of bin Laden's house arrest in Iran for 10 years following Tora Bora. This was arranged by John Brennan. This is why Gary Bernson was not allowed to kill Osama bin Laden in Tora Bora when he was only a few hundred yards away, because the plans had been made and set in stone by John Brennan to extradite bin Laden from Tora Bora to Iran, where he remained under house arrest for 10 years with more than 100 Al-Qaeda leaders and their families.
So what you're saying is that there was no need for us to invade Afghanistan under the pretext of getting Al-Qaeda if the US government knew and was actually protecting his life in Iran. Is that correct?
Well, I have to say it was rogue elements of the US government controlled by John Brennan, Richard Clark, uh, uh, Vice President Biden, quite a few people. There's a long list of people. They started with good intentions. The Safari Club was begun to fight the expansion of the USSR, but it turned into a very distorted operation over the years. And Osama bin Laden was the figurehead manifestation of this alternate CIA. And so they had to protect him in their bad judgment. And you see, one lie leads to another. Our parents always taught us this. And so when my team, we planned a program to go in and get bin Laden in Iran. we were going to catch him when he was falconry hunting, because I spent 20 years living with Arab political leaders, training their falcons and going out in these camps, hunting with them. And then I noticed there were terrorists coming into these camps, and the Royal Falconry camps are Al Qaeda's boardroom. This is where these bad guys come. There are no passport or border controls. And so we were going to go in and get bin Laden, but unfortunately, within minutes of ascending to the office of the CIA director, Leon Panetta's first act in office was to cancel the Rigor program, RIGOR, a covert CIA program to catch and kill Osama bin Laden in Iran. This was 6 months after Barack Obama was sworn in as president, and Leon Panetta threw a tantrum and canceled Rigor. This was reported by Goldman and Apuzzo, and slightly mischaracterized in the press as targeting al-Qaeda leaders all over the world, but it was focused only on Iran and bin Laden. And so when we were first ignored and then obstructed and then threatened by 8 CIA officials and warned off going into Iran to get bin Laden, we had passports, visas, everything was ready. The Revolutionary Guards were going to be our bodyguards while we were out doing bona fide scientific research as a cover for catching bin Laden alive for delivery to a tri-state area. When we were shut down by Leon Panetta and others, I began negotiating directly with Iran 6 scenario analyses for the transfer of bin Laden alive and well to coalition forces, and to have him put in a neutral zone. And Iran is on tape agreeing to this. It was all done. It took 3 years to develop this. I had meetings in the Iranian mission at the United Nations. Ambassador Mohammed Kazai organized everything. Bakhsarai was the handler. There were several handlers. Everything was ready. And then I went to Governor Bill Richardson, New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, on December 2nd and 3rd of 2010. He agreed to be the US envoy to receive bin Laden for a transfer to coalition custody. And it turned out that bin Laden had already been moved to Abbottabad, Pakistan in August of 2010. And so—
Why was he transferred there?
He was transferred there because in the 6 scenario analyses that I discussed with Iran, by harboring Osama bin Laden and 100 al-Qaeda leaders, this represents an act of war against the United States. Their nuclear facilities could be bombed and their economy obliterated. So the time moves backwards instead of forwards. And the Iranians didn't want to risk exposing their complicity with John Brennan and others to harbor. You see, John Brennan and Clinton and Biden outsourced the imprisonment of al-Qaeda leaders to Iran. We think of outsourcing as being a commercial activity. They outsourced our military responsibilities to an untrustworthy adversary, Iran. And they did that to save Iran from retaliation for harboring terrorists. And so Iran had no choice in their estimation but to accept the offer of Clinton in lieu of my offer, which was transferred to a neutral zone, because that would have endangered their economy and their nuclear program.
And
so
Clinton, forgive me, I want to ask you about this. So Clinton actually knew about this, right? She knew that they were willing to just hand him over to us.
Tapes, registered letters, everything to Clinton.
So she knew that they were ready, Iran was ready to give us bin Laden with no real struggle. And
absolutely.
So she decided to have him move to Pakistan for a trophy kill.
They moved him to Abbottabad in August of 2010. And that's our first overhead viewings of bin Laden walking in the garden. Everybody said he was crippled, but he walked down 3 flights of stairs to walk in a garden to advertise his presence, okay? It was an advertisement. Then the gas line was put on the third floor of the Abbottabad complex in August because his wives had to stay sequestered away from the other men. They had to cook in private without the purdah veil and other things. One of bin Laden's sons said his father was strangely resigned to dying in Abbottabad. So he was held there in a gilded cage, awaiting his trophy kill. He was moved from Mashhad, Iran, into Abbottabad airport, and then moved to this prison complex, the Abbottabad compound. It was not there to protect him. It was there to keep him there, awaiting his appointment with destiny. But the Iranians turned it into a fateful result because they pulled bin Laden out at the last minute, at the 11th hour, after an Iranian agent, a double agent, a Pakistan ISI officer who worked for Iran covertly, provided the DNA evidence to the CIA station chief. Finally, they were convinced it was bin Laden in Abbottabad, and they sent in SEAL Team 6. And Musharraf said he didn't know about the SEAL Team 6 coming in, but they had to let down the radar long enough for the helicopters to come in. And they only told Obama about the SEAL Team 6 kill mission after the radar was put back up and SEAL Team 6 could not go back into Afghanistan. It was then a one-way trip that could not be canceled. You see, we have a witness who witnessed Hillary and Panetta threatening Obama that if he didn't greenlight the bin Laden kill mission, they would expose him in the press and he would never survive politically. And he actually was reluctant to authorize the kill mission. That's why they pulled him off the golf course only after the mission could not be canceled. And so the agent provocateurs, the engineers of all of this were John Brennan, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden. And when they went in there, trusting the Iranians had bin Laden there waiting for them, SEAL Team 6, your son.
He was retired at that time. Actually.
Yes, but the SEAL Team 6, they killed Osama bin Laden's double.
How do we know that?
One of the wives went running towards them before he shot him and said, "Don't shoot, he's a double." I don't know the language she used. And then if you read Cy Hirsch's book, he explains that they threw the body parts over the Hindu Kush mountains. They didn't even save them like they saved the sons of Saddam Hussein in a refrigerated tent, well preserved and with makeup, just to prove that the Wicked Witch was dead. They saved the sons of Saddam Hussein, but they did not save the corpse of Osama bin Laden because it was his double, and it could not handle the scrutiny of DNA testing on the ship.
Okay, so the SEAL team, they knew that it was thrown out of the helicopter.
They learned that it was not bin Laden, and so they threw the body parts over the Hindu Kush mountains. And John Brennan said that the people on the ship were told to keep quiet about the burial at sea, but they all say that they never were told to keep quiet because there was no burial at sea. John Brennan took the lead and made the fake media announcements. He lied to the press when he explained this Muslim burial at sea. It's actually haram. It's forbidden to bury a Muslim at sea unless the body's going to endanger the lives of the crew with disease risk. You know, you can't, because you see in the ocean, the feet, it'll rotate around and the feet will face Mecca. It's haram. You must bury on land with the face facing Mecca. So Brennan, who's a Muslim, you'd think he'd know not to lie about something so obvious. He said it was a Muslim burial at sea. Nonsense. And so this big lie that you see, Biden, Hillary, and Clinton worked this agreement with Iran. They trusted Iran to move bin Laden to Pakistan. He did. He was there. But then they trusted Iran to keep him there. They moved him out back to Iran. And then the communication from Iran to Obama was, hey, we got your neck in a noose. Give us all this money, $152 billion, $2 billion airplane pallet was paid out for the secrets I wish to reveal now and to the president under the terms of misprision and treason. That is to say, this is a secret. These are secrets worth $152 billion paid by President Obama, and Vice President Biden paid with the blood of SEAL Team 6 when he had them killed.
So it's blackmail and extortion then.
Blackmail and extortion.
Now,
Iran commandeered.
you have the documents to
Yes.
prove this?
Yes.
Now,
Iran. Yes, sir.
well, I was going to ask you, if you have those documents, are you willing to personally deliver those to President Trump if he were to provide the transportation and the guarantee of safety for you to do that?
Well, I'm not concerned about safety. There's always an invisible hand that protects us, and we're on the winning team. America's on the winning team.
Not one sparrow falls to the ground outside of God's will.
Yes. It would be my pleasure and my honor to bring this material to President Trump. There's a massive amount, terabytes, documents, video, audio. But it needs to go to the president.
I will do everything that I can to get this video in his hands.
It's my only wish.
Alan, I've got a question for you. So that means that SEAL Team 6 was shot down on purpose after the trophy kill to ensure that no dead man can tell no tales.
You were correct. So that President Obama paid bribery of $152 million. Vice President Biden paid with the blood of SEAL Team 6. He spent their blood like currency.
Well, I've got to share something with you. Actually, Charles does. Charles, tell him about the Army Ranger that you talked to that was in the city where they were shot down.
Okay. We lived in Hawaii, and for about a month afterwards, I was in shock. And my wife and I, we went walking on the beach. And in the back of my vehicle, I have a bumper sticker about Ty. And this gentleman came up to me, and he was an Army Ranger that had been injured, and he was recuperating in Hawaii. And he said, "How do you know Chief Petty Officer Woods?" And I says, "Well, I'm his dad." And he says, "Well, I worked with your son." And we became very close. It was part of my healing process, actually, getting to know him. He started coming to our church. His girlfriend started surfing with my daughters, and they ended up getting married. And one of the things that he told me, he says, "I was on the Ranger team that was in that village where SEAL Team 6 was killed." The story was by the Biden-Obama administration that there was this team that was under attack in this village. We're going to die if you don't get someone here really quick. And so they loaded SEAL Team 6 on this slow, vintage Huey helicopter the size of a school bus and slowly got them to the village. Now, they did not request help. They've been in that village numerous times before. In fact, if someone came, it would actually endanger them. The story was not true. And then usually when a helicopter comes in, it goes zoom right down to the ground, opens up, all the troops go out in seconds, and then boom, the helicopter goes straight up. Well, this was a sitting target, okay, the size of a school bus. It hovered in the air over that village, just waiting to be shot down. And the people hot roped. I'd never heard the word hot rope before. That means they each individually lowers down while it was a sitting target. And then apparently it was shot down by one of those weapons that Hillary Clinton illegally sent to Benghazi to give to a terrorist organization the US government used to get rid of our ally who was fighting terrorism. That's Gaddafi.
One of the
And then that weapon ended up over in Afghanistan.
They were Stinger missiles. Thousands upon thousands of them went missing. And Mark Turry was told that he had a small arms covert weapons program going. So that way none of that was ever given to someone, because they could shoot down jetliners just flying by if they wanted to. A child could do it, and a 12-year-old could do it. So these Stinger missiles went through Benghazi and then were given to the people who shot down SEAL Team 6. That was a setup. They were covering their tracks there. And then when they found the serial number on one of the missiles, it is traced back to the CIA from Qatar, from that weapons cache of Stinger missiles. That's why they had to then cover their tracks after people found out that the missiles were from Qatar, and then they could trace back where they came from Hillary through Benghazi. That's why Stevens was back there, to recover those missiles and cover up the evidence. Well, that's at least what he was told. I assume that part of the plan for her was to eliminate everyone there at the Benghazi compound as well.
It's just so wicked. It's hard. It's just so unimaginably evil what these people do.
Dead men don't talk.
Well,
Alan,
we'll talk. We will talk.
You have some good news coming up here in the next week and a half.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be released, audio tapes, documents.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing about it and seeing everybody connect the dots, because it's pretty plain to see the people involved, and it's all connected to another crime spree. And that's another story, though.
Well, let's just remember that heavy price has been paid for the secrets we are uncovering. And there are millions of people who want to see the truth. And we're going to deliver.
Well, America is a democracy, and for a democracy to work, the people that vote need to know what the truth is. And that is why we have 3 weeks for the people of the United States to get to know the truth. I hope that the media covers this, including the fake media, because the truth has to come out for our democracy to work properly, so people can vote intelligently.
Totally agree. I agree.
All right, Alan, we appreciate your time today. I'm sure this is just the beginning, and we look forward to hearing and seeing what you're going to show to everyone in the future.
It's the beginning, but it's also the beginning of the end for the bad guys. Anyway,
it comes out.
Speak to you soon. Yes, sir.
Have a good day, Alan.
It was a pleasure to meet you. Yes.
Lord bless. Bye-bye.